Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's June 4th, 2020. I'm a little bit hot, very sore, and so today I thought what I'd do is give you a tour of the second food forest. Now, it's been neglected quite a bit, the second food forest. I'm just behind schedule on everything. I've run the mower through it a couple of times, but that's about it as far as maintenance. No pruning has been done, no additional work or training of the trees have been done. But I thought what I'd do is throw my helmet cam on and we'll take a walk up in the area and see what we can find. So the area that we'll be looking at will be the area north of the house. So I'm standing just north of the house where the herb garden is. And so it's on this side of the driveway. The other side of the driveway is where the berry patches are, the blackberry plants, that plot over there. And there's gravel trucks going by. And behind me here you may be able to see cattails. So that's the most southern part of the second food forest. So that everything slopes down towards this area. That's a soil collection system, and that wraps right around the building and the structure here along the east side of the gardens, and it's a soil collection, and that feeds into the rest of the canal system, the bioremediation system. So everything up front to the road and up to where we do the large composting system is the second food forest. We won't go any farther than that today. Just to the east of that is the third food forest, which hopefully I'll get up to in the next few days and give you a tour of that area as well. So here we go. So here we are. Here's the main driveway. Over there's the berry patches, the back to Eden on top of the hugelkultur systems. We won't be going through that. There's the house there. And ahead of us right here is the sediment collection. So we catch the sediment as it works its way down from the various swale systems and all. Very rich, nutrient-rich water that makes its way into this area. A lot of plant growth in here, and it works its way all the way around and goes around the structures here in the gardens and works into the bioremediation system. So what we'll do is we'll go up here just a little ways. One of the things that's different, each food forest that I put in is quite a bit different. This property, this area here in the second food forest, when we had horses years ago, that helped to create a pretty nice rich soil base on top of the gravel system. So we actually had some decent soil. But this whole section, besides being decent soil, we decided to do all swale systems. So here's one of the swale systems right ahead of us here. And what we'll do is we'll go on the mound side, which will be modifying all these mounds to make them much more gradual, the pitch of the area here. So right here we have one of our apple trees. It's got the label on it. It needs to be pruned. Down here we have some black currants. This is a plum. Now these ones get eaten quite a bit by a lot of the deer, so some of the small trees and bushes that I had in here have been consumed. Here's one with this tree here. This is one of our apples. With this tree here, the angle of the development of the branching here was actually absolutely great. However, because it was within one of our tree tubes, you could see it was bent back out. So I'm going to see, can I train that one again? Or do I have to remove that limb and train it a little bit differently? So another currant right down in here. Hopefully this stuff is showing up. Honey locust, one of the trees we started here. This is another one of the apples. All different varieties of apples we've got here. This is one of our crimson maples here. Nice tree. Oh, and there is comfrey all along in here. I've ended up mowing over it some, so here's a comfrey, so it's not quite as large as the rest of the comfrey in the other food forests. Here we have a staghorn sumac, makes great tea. These ones do. This is a redbud right here. This one needs to be pruned. That's a nice nitrogen fixer as well. Here again, you could see that these limbs originally came out and were nice angles, but because of being in a tree tube, they went straight up. And I put some training separators on here to separate the limbs, but I'm gonna have to do a lot more. And like this is a really bad branching here, so that's embedded bark there, so that has to be pruned as well. We got limb rubbing against limb here, that's not good. So that limb's gonna have to come right off, and then see what I can do with the rest of the limbs here. Right back here, this is a pecan, this taller one, slender one here. Now my plastic cable ties here, this might girdle it here some, so I'm going to loosen up these cable ties. That's one of the nice things about some of these cable ties, and this one may be sturdy enough now I can remove that rebar that's supporting it. Comfrey down here, a weeping cherry over here. It creates, we have one window on the north side of our house because it's a passive solar energy, so we don't want windows on our north side. We have some skylights that are for cooling and lighting the north side of the house. But okay, with a weeping cherry, another black currant, so the deer didn't knock this one down too much. Let's see, another apple tree, another black currant, another crimson maple here. What do we have here? We have a cherry tree. Got a small oak tree right here. Siberian pea shrub. The deer really chopped them down. Another, it's actually, is that a plum or a cherry? I'm not certain. Another apple here, again, inside of these tree tubes. If you leave them on too long, that gets to be a problem. So I've created problems for myself by using the tools for too long. Another Siberian pea shrub right over here. Another apple. So I have all different types of apples, and there's a couple of apples that I don't care for that I'll be cutting down and putting some scion wood on them. I'm not going to really include much about pond 2 right now. So there's the swale here, pretty deep at this end because it's cutting into the system, but the base of the swale is nice and level. Got some weeds in here again, dang it. So these are all service berries or June berries inside of these cages. The deer love them too. We have some nitrogen fixing lupines all around the base of all of these service berries. So all down on this side of this swale system are all lupine and service berries going right down here, or June berries. Now over on this side we have another swale system. We'll just get up to this area here first and work our way down. So this swale system drains from two other swales up above here. Way over there is where the large composting system is, that big clear area. And over here is the second swale on the second food forest. So we're going to go down, and again it gets deeper this way, and then this swale drains into pond 2 over here. And this one stays full all year round. This has a huiculture pit attached to one side of it, which really adds to the biodiversity of this pond. And any material, any extra nitrogen and phosphates that come from the composting system work their way down through these systems, through this pond system, go into the soil collecting systems, and then go into the bioremediation systems as well. So here we've got a honey locust right here on the edge of this one. We've got some flowers that aren't doing as well. The deer love them. Yes, this is a peach tree here. And here we've got another pecan and another pecan right there. An apple right here. This is a high bush cranberry plant, and it's flowering right now. The berries on this are a very tart berry. I haven't done anything with them, but the deer eat these things back like crazy. They do really well in full sun. I'm going to try them in partial shade as well to see how they do. But it's even outgrowing the cage that I put on it. So a year and a half ago I removed the tree tubes because these were all protected by tree tubes. So were all of these service berries. That's why they're all so tight together instead of bushing out as much as they should. But then I put the cages there to allow them to bush out some more. And so these are all high bush cranberries. So these ones are all going to get moved out so I can expand more of the food forest. But they'll be going into other areas of the food forest as well. A nice apple tree. Another pecan right here. A cherry tree. Another high bush cranberry. Oh, and I should be showing some of the plants. So the Siberian pea shrubs, some of the ones the deer don't get to, but there's several along in here. Really nice nitrogen fixers. Is this one of my plums or is this a cherry? This is one of my plums. Boy, it looks a lot like a cherry. Another apple tree. High bush cranberry. More Siberian pea shrubs. Here are the little pea pods on here now, starting to develop. Another apple tree. Man, all these guys need to get pruned. Another apple tree. And this is one that they chewed down last year when the cage blew off in a windstorm. Another high bush cranberry. Another apple. And we've got some of the currants in here as well. Locust tree, a couple locust trees in here. Another high bush cranberry right here. Another apple tree. Another high bush cranberry here. And some of the nests you can see, we've got all different nests amongst all these different trees. We're really fortunate with all the birds we have, but our cats are really good hunters too. A cherry tree right here. Another apple tree here. Persimmons, American persimmons tree right here. Oh, and down in here, these guys are just, all right, so over here, Siberian pea shrub, lemon balm right here. Lemon balm there. Let's see, where else? High bush cranberry, another apple, high bush cranberry here, honey locust. So the hyssop really isn't showing up yet because there's hyssop all along in here. That's that licorice flavored one. This, who is this? Is this one of those? No, this is a pear. That's why that one's so tall. The pears on this one have always been way up there, and I haven't gotten them. Another apple, high bush cranberry, another sumac up here. The blackberry bushes over there starting to come up. Another swale system here. This is an area last season I worked on, and I took all the trees out of here. I transplanted them all and started excavating this area out to make it much more of a gradual slope. I still have a little more work to do on it. Here we have 2 rows of hazelnuts, and the deer have been chewing these down like crazy. I had lupines all along in here, but the quackgrass took over and all. But our hazelnuts, I just started pulling a few of these out of the tree tubes. Usually when they get about this size, the deer will only knock them back a bit, which will stimulate the base to really send up some new components, new limbs of the hazelnuts. So we have a couple of rows here, and they just wrap right around. I just got to get all these tree tubes out. Yesterday I pulled a couple of the tree tubes out. So now we're going to look at one more swale here. So this is a mulberry. This was a volunteer mulberry tree, and it makes nice little tasty ones, but they aren't like my favorite, my Illinois. So I'm going to see if I can prune this one and graft it. Honey locust here. And this is an area that I've talked about before, an apple tree, honey locust. This is an area that I'm working on trying to get this slope to the way I want it. Another honey locust right over here. Another apple tree right there. A pecan right here. I got to get it out of that tree tube. A red maple right here. Cherry tree. This is one of the red buds, which really are late leafing out. I'm not sure if this is, I think that this is another pecan. Could be a butternut, but I think it's a pecan. A pear tree here. Another apple. Another red bud here. And the red buds are nice nitrogen fixers as well. And here we've got another apple. A red bud here that has leafed out. Another apple. Down in here there's one more pecan that I'm trying to save. And I don't think I'm going to be successful with that one. Another apple. Some of these are old heirloom or classic apples around here. A plum. This is a serviceberry here. Another serviceberry right there. An apple. And this is another, this is a peach. So I've got to do some more work so I don't get the dirt too close around this one. And we'll go up around here. So here's a mistake I made. So this is a raspberry bush row. I thought would be real easy to maintain, but because of the high water content that we've developed on this property, despite it being gravel, this swale, which is down in here that hasn't been mowed, and that's the mound on that side, the trees we just looked at. Well, this is just too close to the swale, which made it difficult to maintain. So all the grasses got in there, all the weeds got in there. So this raspberry system's coming right out. This is the area where we do the large pile composting systems right in here. That mass right there is the horseradish plants over there, which is being overtaken, which is gradually being overtaken by the grasses over there. And this was a beautiful area of raspberries all along in here, but I just haven't maintained it, and I've been working on this area. So we'll take a walk right here. So these are the grapevines, and someone had asked how well the pruning these back took care of the black rot. Last year I only had 2 tiny spots of the black rot on these, and I added more compost to the base along in here and did some of my hardwood cuttings that I had started last season. So there are some more in here, But this area, when I get enough wood chips and I get the cardboard and I get the time, this whole area needs more compost and sheet mulching. And this needs to be pruned, because with all these areas going down and touching the ground, that's not good. And it really encourages the deer to come through and grab these buggers. The deer love these grapes. Most are Concord grapes, but not all of them. Again, we're looking back through the various swales going down that way. All right. How to do this. So what I'll say here is on the north side of the grapevine trellis here, we have various types of crabapple trees all along in here, flowering pears. We have a few chestnuts, a few pecans, a few butternuts. I don't think there's any walnuts in there anymore. But this area I've got some more work to do with. In here, hidden in here, are currants. So in here, more currant bushes all along. Currants. So many things get overgrown here. And we're getting up next to the road. Comfrey and our blue spruce trees here, and I got to pull out some of these bushes and all. And these haven't been, I've got about a 60% success, but where these rebar, these are all chestnut trees that I planted along here, but with our salt content for taking care of the snow and ice during the winter time and it getting blasted right over here. It's been a challenge for them, but I'm going to stick to it and see if I can get all these Chinese chestnuts and American chestnuts hybrids back established. Mulberry trees here. You can hear it sounds much louder. So my two next door neighbors on that side of the property are gravel mines. So there's equipment running here all the time. And that's one of the sound deadening benefits of having a food forest like this, because we really can't hear that much noise. We can't hear it at all in our house. But it really is beneficial for, you know, so you can hear the trucks going by all the time. And unless I'm up in this area, most of the time people can't even detect it. So that's that. So here's a pecan, here a honey locust, comfrey down in here. There's comfrey in between all of the blue spruces as well. This right here is a catawba tree. There's a bunch of those. Comfrey in here, honey locust. What is this guy? I can't remember. I'll have to wait until the leaves develop a little bit more so I could say what it is. Another honey locust here. And this is a catawba that did not survive. Surprised. A heart nut there, honey locust. So there were trees in between each one of these before. Not sure what's in that one, may not have survived. Another catawba that didn't make it. Honey locust, chestnut here, catawba here. More comfrey down in here. I think I'm going to propagate more of the comfrey. You can see our high winds take its toll on a lot of our trees that just get either knocked over or knocked down. This is one of our big butternuts here. Catawba here. And this just continues down this whole path here, and so now we would be getting into the third food forest, which is very similar here. More of these nut trees and catawba trees, and down in here more of the flowering pear and crabapple trees like we saw here down in this section here. Well, that's a tour of our second food forest. So as you can see, it's quite a bit different than our first food forest. The first food forest is all hard gravel there, didn't have the benefit of horses being on it for years. The area was hilly in spots and low spots in other areas, and so I smoothed it all out as much as I could, put in the swale systems. But since that was such unconditionable soil, because it was just strictly gravel, it would only support weeds and grass, some real quack grass and all. So I put 1.5 to 2 foot deep of wood chips out there to establish the first food forest. This food forest had the advantage of a large part of it. We had a fenced-in area where the horses were. And that created a lot of beautiful soil over the years. And we elected to put swale systems in here, since the third food forest and part of the second food forest is all a huge hugelkultur pit system. And I'll put a link in the upper right hand corner to the hugelkultur pit system that we established. So we didn't burn any of the trees when we cleared area here. We took the trees down and we put them all under the ground, and that has been such a beautiful way of maintaining moisture in this really porous gravel area, and therefore we can have ponds, canals, and swales that work extremely well through all different seasons. And as you can see, some of the benefits are significant noise reduction as you get here with the big trucks going by. Right here it will be a little bit loud because it's open over in that area where the berry bushes are. That'll be thickened up towards the road to be more of a sound and visual barrier. The other benefit of having a food forest, besides a food forest being a place where you can create an abundance of food, fuel, fiber, pharmacy, fun, everything that you can think of. You can get the food from it, you can get the nutrition from it. But one of the big benefits that most people don't talk about, with so many of these being deciduous trees and all, they adsorb to PM2s and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, these carcinogens that are in the air from automobiles and all. And we have these big diesel trucks going by all the time, and diesel farm equipment and all. So all of those chemicals that are in the air, they get adsorbed to the lipid layer of all these green leaves, and then when they fall in the fall, the fungus breaks them down. So that's another benefit. So noise reduction, visual barrier, and unfortunately, I wish I had gotten up here a week and a half ago when most of the trees were all in flower. Over the last couple of weeks, it's been absolutely beautiful, but the flowering is all stopped now, and you can see all the little fruiting buds, which are pretty small, not going to show up on the camera. But that's a look at our second food forest, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. If you found this video of value, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and by all means, folks, stay safe and start gardening. Plant a couple of trees. Do something for your own health and well-being. Take care now. Bye-bye.